The seconds are out. The crowd is waiting. The boxers are getting ready to battle. Time for another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast with your presenter, Greg Rashid.
Sweating Cocks, this is Greg Rashid with another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. The Sweaty Cock means hello in Thai, and yes, I'm in Bangkok, Thailand, enjoying it as always. But I love doing these shows. Happy that you've joined today, wherever you are. A lot of people join the program at their convenience, but a lot of folks listen every Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Mountain Time on KUHSdenver.com, created by Henry Arguello. Yeah, I want to say hi to all my friends in the Colorado region. I keep saying I'm coming back. I'll be back there, but right now I'm in Thailand enjoying it. And we're going to have a great show today, as we always do. And what we do on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast, we do fantasy fights. And if you're listening in, you're a boxing fan, and we have fantasy fights. And we do things like what would happen if Muhammad Ali fought Joe Woods? What would happen if Mike Tyson fought Tyson Fury? And we do various modalities, computer games, card and dice games, and books and manji, everything, just mix it all up and come up with these fantasy fights. And today we're going to use Title Bout 2 PC game created by Jim Trunza to do the featherweight fight between George Dixon and Alex Arguello. Now, some of you may not realize that Alex Arguello started as a featherweight. So a lot of you know him as lightweight, super lightweight and all, but he was a featherweight first. So we're going to do that fight today, and we have today, and he's been given to me, the one and only, again, the legendary Hall of Famer, Sonny Huff. I don't know where he's a Hall of Fame he's in, but he's in the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to interview him at some point to find out, where are you? What Hall of Fame? But anyway, besides doing that, we have Felicia, who in a minute will tell you the boxing history for the week. We talk about the latest news in boxing, and also we have music at the end of the program. That's why I call it a boxing variety show. But right now, we're going to get to Felicia, and then we'll do our fight on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Hi, everyone. This is your girl, Felicia, coming through with your weekly boxing history fix for July 19th through July 25th. Let's dive into some legendary moments that shaped the sweet science. July 19th, 1996. One of the most emotional nights in Olympic history. Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, battling Parkinson's disease, slowly walked up that ramp and lit the Olympic flame in Atlanta. The stadium was in tears, hands shaking, torch trembling. It wasn't just lighting a flame, it was lighting up the world. Pure goosebumps. July 20th, 2019. Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao showed Father Time who's boss. At the incredible age of 40, he outworked Keith Thurman to win the WBA welterweight title by split decision. He became the oldest welterweight champion in history. The man just refuses to age. Someone please check his birth certificate. July 21st, 2007. The executioner was in full control. Bernard Hopkins, a master tactician, outboxed and outsmarted former undisputed champion Winky Wright, winning a clear unanimous decision. B-Hop made it look easy, because when you've got that ring IQ, the fight is basically a chess match with gloves. July 22nd, 1963. Sonny Liston reminded everyone why he was terrifying. In a rematch with Floyd Patterson, Liston knocked him out again in the first round. Same opponent, same result, same destruction. Patterson didn't even make it past the opening bell twice. Ouch. July 23rd, 2011. Amir Khan turned in a highlight reel performance, stopping Zab Judah with a vicious body shot in the 5th round. Khan was lightning fast that night. Zab probably still hears footsteps in his sleep. July 24th, 1902. The great Joe Gans, one of the pound-for-pound best ever, successfully defended his world lightweight championship against Roof Turner. Gans was a technician and a pioneer, smooth, powerful, and way ahead of his time. July 25, 1921. Pete Herman pulled off a comeback for the ages. The gritty bantamweight regained the world bantamweight title with a hard-fought 15-round decision over Joe Lynch. These old-school warriors fought like the title was their last meal. That's your boxing history for the week. Whether it's Olympic magic, ageless wonders, or brutal knockouts, this sport never stops delivering drama. Before I go, I just want to say I love every single one of you guys. Thank you for riding with me week after week, and yes, I read all your emails, every single one. Keep them coming. I appreciate every story, every memory, and every suggestion you send. This is Felicia signing off. Stay safe, throw them hands up, and I'll see you next week.
Hi, this is the legendary Hall of Famer Sonny Huff, here to broadcast today's bout from the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto. The atmosphere inside this magnificent arena is electric. Fans from Canada, Nicaragua, and every corner of the boxing world have packed the Coca-Cola Coliseum for a fascinating clash of featherweight greatness. Tonight, two men from entirely different eras step into the same ring through the magic of imagination and competition. In one corner stands the pride of Managua, Nicaragua, Alexis Arguello. Arguello is remembered as one of the smoothest, most technically gifted fighters ever to lace on a pair of gloves. Standing unusually tall for the lighter divisions, he possessed a piston-like left jab, elegant footwork, and perhaps one of the most devastating straight right hands in boxing history. A three-division champion, Arguello combined patience with precision, often allowing opponents to make mistakes before punishing them with surgical accuracy. His gentlemanly demeanor outside the ropes stood in complete contrast to his ruthless efficiency inside them. Countless champions learned that one perfectly placed right hand from Alexis Arguello could change a fight in an instant. Across the ring stands one of boxing's true pioneers, George Dixon. Born in Africville, Nova Scotia, and fighting out of Boston, Dixon was one of the 19th century's greatest athletes and one of the sport's earliest global superstars. Fast-handed, clever, fearless, and blessed with remarkable stamina, Dixon helped establish the featherweight division during an era when boxing demanded extraordinary courage. He fought hundreds of contests against the very best available, dazzling crowds with blazing combinations, elusive movement, and surprising punching power despite his modest stature. Long before modern television or radio carried the sport to millions, George Dixon built his reputation one unforgettable performance at a time. Tonight, the Canadian crowd has embraced one of its native sons with a thunderous ovation. Lawrence Cole gives final instructions in the center of the ring. The fighters touch gloves, and here we go. Arguello immediately establishes himself behind that familiar ramrod jab, circling calmly as he studies Dixon. The Nicaraguan is relaxed, standing tall, measuring distance with every subtle movement. He lets the jab fly. It falls short. Dixon instantly makes him pay. A beautifully timed counter uppercut snaps Arguello's head backward. What tremendous reflexes from the Canadian legend. The hometown crowd erupts at the crisp counter. Arguello refuses to be discouraged. He's gliding around the perimeter now, looking for angles, trying to slow Dixon's quick feet and force him toward the ropes. Now Arguello succeeds. He's cut off the ring beautifully and has Dixon back near the strands. This is exactly where the taller man wants the fight. But Dixon refuses to stay trapped. He slips sideways, creates just enough room, and fires a sharp jab directly into Arguello's face before spinning back toward center ring. Arguello pursues. Dixon feints upstairs. Arguello braces. The uppercut misses. No damage done. Now Dixon explodes with a quick combination. Left, right, left. Every punch lands with precision, and Arguello's expression changes immediately. He felt those shots. The Canadian crowd senses something developing. Both fighters drift back toward center ring. Dixon continues circling effortlessly, never standing still for more than a heartbeat. His footwork is beautiful to watch. Again, they're squared up. Arguello stalks. Dixon moves. There's the hook. It crashes into the side of Arguello's head. Arguello absorbs it well, but Dixon isn't finished. He steps inside again. Another hook. Oh, my goodness! Arguello goes down. The normally unshakable Alexis Arguello has been dropped hard to the canvas. The crowd has exploded. Lawrence Cole immediately begins the count. Arguello rolls onto one knee. He's gathering himself. He reaches for the ropes. 8, 9, and he's up. His legs don't look completely steady, but he tells the referee he wants to continue. Dixon wastes absolutely no time. He pumps a stiff jab straight through Arguello's guard. The Nicaraguan blinks as if trying to clear his vision. Dixon smells opportunity. Here comes the attack. A perfectly thrown right cross crashes squarely into Arguello's jaw. Arguello is rocked. He's stumbling backward. The crowd is standing now. Dixon pours on the pressure with remarkable composure. He doesn't rush wildly. He picks his shots. Another combination lands flush. Arguello's knees buckle dramatically. He's desperately trying to survive as Dixon continues applying relentless pressure. Lawrence Cole steps between them momentarily to warn Dixon after a punch strays below the belt. A brief pause. The warning has been issued. Action resumes. Dixon immediately resumes the assault. A sharp jab pierces the guard yet again. Arguello's face is beginning to show the punishment. He simply cannot find his rhythm tonight. Dixon keeps pressing. Another sweeping hook lands cleanly. Arguello reels backward once more, struggling to answer the incoming fire. Lawrence Cole has seen enough. He rushes between the fighters and waves both arms overhead. It's over. George Dixon has produced an astonishing opening round technical knockout over one of boxing's all-time greats. What an unforgettable performance. The Toronto crowd is on its feet, roaring with appreciation as George Dixon raises both arms in victory. His speed, timing, and explosive combinations overwhelmed Alexis Arguello before the Nicaraguan could establish his trademark rhythm. Arguello showed tremendous courage in rising from the knockdown, but Dixon never allowed him a chance to recover, maintaining intelligent pressure until the referee stepped in to protect him. Lawrence Cole escorts the victorious George Dixon to the center of the ring as the judges' scorecards are no longer needed following the stoppage. It is a magnificent performance from one of Canada's greatest boxing legends, and the hometown faithful will be talking about this victory for generations. What a privilege it has been to witness two featherweight immortals share the same ring. I will now return you to our Bangkok studios. This is the legendary Hall of Famer, Sonny Huff. Until we meet again on these airwaves, remember it is always a great day when it is sunny.
Boy, that was a quick one. I didn't think that would last. I thought that would last a little longer, but I know something with George. If you don't know much about George Dixon, Google and learn more about him. He's one of the greatest, like little guys ever fight. Just amazing. And the first black champion. To have a title, to win a title. Kind of forgotten now, but we try to keep the memory of so many folks in history. And I hope you enjoyed that fight. And what? Oh, God. Oh, here's a commercial. I have to do these with Sonny Huff. Oh, goodness. Anyway, we have a commercial here now with Sonny Huff. And after that, we're going to have Malcolm and Ella talking about, it's a whole argument that it's been going on for ages. It has to do with Willie Pip, who's considered Will of the Wisp, that's his nickname, and Sonny Sadler. I was recently reading an issue that was the one and only Sonny Huff. I'm going to interview him at some point because I want to know, where is he a Hall of Famer? He won't tell us. But anyway, the next segment is going to be with Malcolm and Ella. In the space of a discussion I had with a friend of mine over here, I get the latest issue of Ring Magazine, and they put in their top 25 all-time great fighters. And it's something I continue to see. I mean, it just goes on forever. And I'm not going to give away who was number one. I want you to get that magazine yourself. But they had on the list Willie Pep. And ever since I was a kid, I'm talking about over, I can say now, over 60 years since I began to read the Ring magazine and other little sport books about boxing, they always mention Willie Pep as one of the greatest fighters ever. But I always wonder now, if he's one of the greatest ever, how come you never put Sandy Sadler on the list? Because he beat Willie Pep 3 out of 4 times. So how come he's not on the all-time great list? And the funny thing is that the latest Ring magazine, when they're doing that list, at the beginning of the list, they used to talk about, they give this weak answer about why Sadler is not on the list, even though he beat Willie Pep. And I just thought that's so silly. It's just going on forever. And I just call it laziness. People just see this list for many years, just assume, well, Willie Pep's got to be on it. Never saw him fight, don't know anything about Sandy Sadler. So I was talking to Malcolm and Ella about it, and they got into debate, which they're going to air right now on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. It's all about Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler and why Sadler is not considered one of the greatest fighters ever. So let's hear that right now.
Welcome to the debate. So I want you to imagine a master lock picker standing in front of this massive steel vault.
Okay.
He's got, his delicate specialized tools out. He's leaning in, listening to the tumblers click, meticulously working the internal mechanism with just, perfect precision.
Right. And let me guess, the other guy has a sledgehammer.
Exactly. Now imagine a guy walking up to that exact same vault with a 20-pound sledgehammer, determined to just smash the steel door right off its hinges. Today, we're looking at the greatest collision of those two philosophies in sports history.
The pure technician versus the absolute terminator.
Spot on. We are debating the historical ranking of the greatest featherweight boxer of all time. And this really centers on a fundamental tension in sports history. How do we weigh a fighter's overall resume and technical brilliance against, head-to-head results and raw physical dominance?
Right. It's the classic matchup problem.
Exactly. Does Willie Pep's unparalleled technical mastery, his defensive artistry, and his staggering 229 career wins make him the greatest 126-pound fighter ever? Or does Sandy Sadler's overwhelming power, 103 knockouts, and his 3-1 head-to-head dominance over Pep earn him the top spot?
It's a fantastic question.
I'll be advocating for Willie Pep as the supreme featherweight based on his unmatched resume and absolute technical genius.
And I'll be dissenting. I'll be arguing for Sandy Sadler's superiority based on his undeniable head-to-head dominance and highly effective tactical pressure.
So, to start, Willie Pep represents the absolute pinnacle of what purists call the sweet science, the fundamental boxing philosophy of hitting without getting hit. For Pep, boxing wasn't a brawl, it was geometry.
Geometry. Okay.
Seriously, if you're listening to this and picturing two guys just planting their feet and trading punches in the center of the ring, wipe that image from your mind. Pep treated the canvas like a mathematician treats a chalkboard. Before he ever even faced Sandy Sadler, Pep had achieved a statistical anomaly of a record: 134 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw.
Which is, almost incomprehensible by today's standards.
It really is. Fighters today might retire with 30 or 40 wins total. Pep had 134 before he even met his ultimate rival. And that one single loss was a non-title bout against a natural lightweight. Against featherweights, men his own size, he was essentially untouchable.
Until he wasn't.
Well, look at his 1949 masterpiece in his second fight against Sadler. Pep became the first man since George Dixon in 1898 to regain the featherweight title, and he did it by outboxing Sadler with blinding speed over 15 brutal rounds.
Barely.
But he did it. It proves my core point. When Willie Pep fought his fight on his terms, he was the superior pugilist. His eventual 229 career wins aren't just the number. They are a monument to a defensive perfection that has literally never been equaled.
See, while you're focused on geometry and mathematics, I'm looking at the physical reality of combat. Sandy Sadler was the ultimate pragmatist. They called him the Harlem Terminator because he viewed boxing as, well, weaponized attrition.
Right, he was a brawler.
Not just a brawler. We can talk about Pep's technical brilliance all day, but Sadler amassed an astonishing 103 knockouts over his career. That ranks his 6th on the all-time list of heavy hitters across all weight classes. 6th!
It is a wild stat.
And he was a 5'8" featherweight with a freakish 70-inch reach, who built a style specifically designed to break down pure technicians. Here is the unassailable fact at the heart of this debate. Head-to-head results must be the ultimate metric.
I don't know about ultimate.
They have to be. Sadler fought Pep 4 times. He stopped him by knockout or retirement in 3 of those 4 encounters. You simply cannot be considered the absolute greatest of all time if another fighter from your exact same era, fighting at your exact same weight, systematically destroys you 3 times.
Systematically destroys is a bit strong.
Sadler didn't just beat Pep. He pursued him, cut him down, and battered him.
Wait, hold on. You can't just isolate those 4 fights and ignore the rest of the boxing universe. Yes, Sadler won 3 of their 4 fights, but greatness in a division isn't determined by a single matchup.
It kind of is when it's for the title.
It's determined by a fighter's dominance over the entirety of their era. Willie Pep dominated everyone. He defeated Hall of Famers like Chalky Wright, who was a terrifying puncher in his own right, by the way, and Pep beat him multiple times. He beat Salvar Tolo. He cleared out the division for years.
Sure, he beat a lot of guys.
But Sadler, on the other hand, had 16 career losses. Many of those were to lesser-known opponents in non-title bouts. If you put both men against the hypothetical top 50 featherweights of their era, Pep's style yields far more consistent victories. Let's go back to that opening analogy.
The lockpicker.
Right. The master lockpicker who elegantly opens 99 out of 100 safes is a greater master of his craft than a man who uses a sledgehammer, even if that sledgehammer can smash the lockpicker's tools. Pep was the lockpicker. He could open any safe.
But a sledgehammer that opens the safe is still doing the job, isn't it?
I mean, yes, but...
And more importantly, Sadler wasn't just a blunt instrument. Let's unpack those non-title losses you just mentioned, because context matters immensely here. In the 1940s and 50s, fighters fought constantly just to make ends meet. Sadler fought 24 times in 1945 alone.
True. It was a different era.
Exactly. When you're fighting some local club fighter in Johnstown, Pennsylvania on a Tuesday night for a quick paycheck, you aren't always in peak 15-round title fight condition. You are fighting to eat.
Fair point.
But when the lights were brightest against the man you're calling the absolute greatest, Sadler delivered. It's fundamentally contradictory to rank Pep higher when Sadler proved he possessed the exact kryptonite to dismantle Pep's style.
But did he dismantle the style, or did he dismantle the man? Because we need to explain how Pep's defense actually worked before we decide it was broken.
Go for it.
So Pep relied on constant lateral movement, moving side to side rather than straight back. He would step his front foot outside the opponent's lead foot. This creates an angle where he can strike, but the opponent is totally out of position to return fire.
Right, creating angles.
Exactly. He used subtle upper body slips, dropping his weight just an inch or two to let a punch sail right over his shoulder. If Pep's defense was functioning at 100%, no one, not even Sadler, could touch him.
Well, if his defense was truly perfect, Sadler wouldn't have knocked him out in 4 rounds in their first fight.
There's context to that first fight.
You talk about lateral movement and stepping outside the lead foot. Well, Sadler had a 70-inch reach. That is extraordinarily long for a 126-pounder. He used that reach to cast a wide net.
He was definitely lanky for the weight class.
You can step laterally all you want, but when Sadler throws a wide, sweeping hook to the body that spans half a ring, he's going to catch you. He cut off the ring, meaning he moved forward and laterally himself, trapping Pep in the corners. You can't use geometry to escape when your back is physically pressed against the turnbuckle.
Okay, that brings us to the most crucial piece of context for that first fight, and really the entirety of their rivalry. Because when we talk about Willie Pep against Sandy Sadler, we are fundamentally talking about a compromised Willie Pep.
Oh, here we go.
No, listen. In January of 1947, a year before he ever fought Sadler, Willie Pep was in a catastrophic plane crash in a New Jersey forest. Several people died. Pep survived, but he suffered a broken back and fractured vertebrae. The doctors literally told him he would never fight again.
I know the story, but
So, the Willie Pep that stepped into the ring against Sadler was physically diminished.
hold on. We really need to look closely at this narrative.
Wait, let me just finish the thought, because the physical mechanics of this are vital. I just explained Pep's lateral movement. That requires explosive, fast-twitch muscle fibers in the legs and extreme rotational flexibility in the spine.
Right.
After a broken back, he lost a step of that legendary speed. His pre-crash peak, that 13.4-1-1 version of the Will-o'-the-Wisp who relied on hyper-reactive reflexes, was gone. Post-crash Pep had to rely on guile, timing, and ring generalship.
Which he was still incredible at.
Exactly. Meaning his ability to control the pace and location of the fight using his brain rather than just his legs. Sadler beat a great fighter, yes, but he beat a wounded warrior.
Okay, that is the great what-if protective shield for Willie Pep's legacy. And honestly, it falls apart when you actually look at the timeline.
How so?
Yes, the plane crash was horrific. The recovery was miraculous. But let's look at what Pep did immediately after that crash. He returned to the ring 5 months later and went on a 26-fight winning streak over the next 15 months before he faced Sadler.
Yep.
26 consecutive wins. If you're listening and wondering how a guy with a broken back wins 26 fights in 15 months, you have to remember the sheer volume of fights in this era.
Which makes it even more impressive.
It is incredibly impressive. But here is the massive logical inconsistency. If we are going to credit Pep's immense greatness for going on a 26-fight tear post-crash, how can we suddenly use that very same crash to invalidate his losses to Sadler?
Because Sadler was a different caliber of opponent.
But you can't have it both ways. You can't say, look how great he is, he won 26 fights with a broken back, and then turn around and say, well, he only lost to Sadler because of the broken back.
I mean, I definitely can.
Sadler didn't beat him because of a plane crash. Sadler beat him because his relentless pressure and body attack were specifically designed to break a mobile fighter's legs. If you hit a guy in the ribs enough times, he stops dancing. Plane crash or no plane crash.
I completely disagree with that framing. The 26-fight streak post-crash isn't a contradiction. It's a testament to Pep's incredible boxing IQ. He was so far ahead of the rest of the featherweight division that he could beat 99% of them with a diminished physical toolkit.
That's a bold claim.
It's true. He relied entirely on his mastery of distance and feints, faking a punch to make the opponent react, then capitalizing on their mistake. But when you face an elite, all-time great pressure fighter like Sadler, you need your absolute physical peak to survive the onslaught. Pep didn't have it.
He had enough to win their second fight.
Exactly. And look at how he won it. In their second fight, his 1949 masterpiece, he had to dig so incredibly deep, surviving terrible cuts and a battered face just to outbox Sadler over 15 rounds. He fought the absolute perfect fight to win that decision.
He definitely did.
He danced, he pivoted, he tied Sadler up. But fighting perfectly takes a massive physiological toll. A structurally damaged body simply couldn't sustain that level of perfection over their subsequent third and fourth bouts. And frankly, Sadler didn't just win those next bouts with pure boxing pressure. He won them by employing some of the dirtiest tactics in the history of the sport.
And here we find the real crux of why boxing purists try to downgrade Sadler. The aesthetic bias.
It's not an aesthetic bias if it's documented fact. Let's look at the mechanics of their fourth fight in 1951. It is universally regarded as one of the ugliest, foulest title bouts in history. Sadler was healing Pep.
I know what he was doing.
Oh, for the listener, healing isn't a foot maneuver. It means Sadler was taking the inside of his glove, where the harsh laces are, and physically grinding it across Pep's eyes and cut tissue to blind him.
It was a rough era.
He was wrestling him to the ground, hitting on the brake, holding, and tripping. The referee gave warnings in practically every single round. It was so bad that the New York State Athletic Commission suspended Sadler's license indefinitely and revoked Pep's.
They were both guilty of fouling.
But when we evaluate greatness, we evaluate the advancement of the sport. Pep advanced the sport. His shoulder rolls, deflecting punches off the lead shoulder while keeping the chin tucked behind it, influenced generations of defensive geniuses, right down to modern fighters.
Okay, but
Sadler, on the other hand, relied on roughhouse tactics elbows and thumbs to manhandle a smaller, technically superior artist. You can't elevate a fighter to the #1 spot when his primary mechanism for victory involved treating the boxing ring like a back alley street fight.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend Sadler was an angel in the ring. But framing Sadler merely as a dirty street brawler is a massive oversimplification of his tactical brilliance. We have to explain the how of Sadler's defense because he was a major innovator in his own right.
Innovator of fouls, maybe.
No, seriously. Sadler utilized a highly sophisticated combination of the cross-arm defense and the long guard,
which often blurred the line into grappling.
Let me explain how it works first. Because of his 5'8" frame and that massive 70-inch reach, Sadler would literally cross his forearms horizontally in front of his face and torso. He would take strikes on his forearms, absorb the impact, and march forward.
Right.
Or he would use a long guard outstretching his lead arm to frame against Pep's collarbone or face, physically stiff-arming him to control the distance and force Pep into the clinch. Once inside the clinch, Sadler utilized collar ties, grabbing the back of Pep's neck like a modern mixed martial artist, and wrist control to break Pep's posture.
See, that's wrestling.
Once Pep was bent over, Sadler would unleash devastating shovel uppercuts to the body. This wasn't just mindless brawling. It was a highly systematic weaponization of range and leverage.
That's actually a really interesting point about his mechanics. You look at guys decades later pushing opponents away to create space for the uppercut, and that is pure Sadler. It's well documented that he later taught these exact same principles to George Foreman, who used them to dominate the heavyweight division.
Exactly.
But even so, I'd argue that there is a distinct line between imposing your physical will using leverage and intentionally breaking the rules to incapacitate your opponent.
Which Pep did too.
Pep himself noted that in their third fight, his shoulder was separated because Sadler twisted his arm in a double arm lock. That's a submission hold, not a boxing technique.
Oh, come on.
Pep's greatness lies in the fact that he treated the sport with a profound intellectual rigor. Even the myths about him speak to his aura. There is a famous legend that Pep once won a round against Jackie Graves without throwing a single punch.
Which isn't true.
Using only movement, feints, and making Graves miss so wildly that the judges gave Pep the round. Now, yes, modern historians have largely debunked that specific myth, but the fact that people actually believed it for decades shows you just how untouchable Pep was. He wasn't just fighting, he was performing magic. Sadler's greatness relies on destroying that magic through whatever means necessary, legal or otherwise.
I think we need to look at why the boxing establishment was so quick to romanticize Pep's magic while vilifying Sadler's aggression.
It's pretty obvious why.
The boxing media, then and now, heavily favors the sweet science. They love the slick, dancing technician. Pep was the golden boy of the purists. Sadler was tall, wiry, menacing, and fought with an aggressive, punishing style that defied classical boxing norms.
Sure.
The establishment was naturally predisposed to romanticize the artist and label the powerhouse as a dirty brawler. When Sadler twisted Pep's arm or stepped on his toes, it was written up as a malicious assault on the sport. When Pep used his thumb or stomped on Sadler's foot, which he absolutely did, by the way, Pep gave as good as he got in those trenches. It was brushed off as the cagey veteran defending himself.
I mean, he had to survive.
The narrative of good versus evil or artist versus thug was heavily driven by a purist bias long before modern historians got to it.
I hear what you're saying about aesthetic bias, but I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning because it diminishes the very real, tangible evidence of Pep's overall resume, which exists entirely independent of any stylistic preferences.
If you look at it in a vacuum, sure.
The numbers don't have an aesthetic bias. The International Boxing Research Organization didn't rank Pep the #1 featherweight of all time because they prefer his style. They ranked him there because of the raw data. He fought from 1940 to 1966. A 26-year career in the lighter weight classes, where speed and reflexes are the absolute first things to go, is simply unheard of.
It is a long time.
Even in his mid-40s, Pep was putting together 9-fight winning streaks. Sadler's career was incredibly impressive, but it ended when he was just 30 years old due to an eye injury from a taxi crash. Pep accumulated 229 professional wins. Think about the physical endurance required to step through the ropes and win 229 times. No modern fighter will ever touch that number.
No, they won't.
And he did it while facing a deeper, more varied level of elite competition across his title reigns than Sadler did. Sadler was undoubtedly Pep's kryptonite. He was a stylistic nightmare custom-built to defeat the technician. But being the antidote to one specific great fighter doesn't make you the greatest overall fighter in the history of the division.
But boxing isn't played out on a spreadsheet. It's not judged by accumulating wins against the rest of the pack over 26 years. It is the most intimate man-to-man sport on earth.
Of course.
If I am the greatest fighter in the world, and you step into the ring with me 4 times, and I leave you unconscious or quitting on your stool in 3 of those fights, the debate should be over.
You talk about Pep's 1949 victory as his masterpiece, and I agree. It was a spectacular performance of heart and skill. But look at the descriptions and photos of Pep after that fight.
He was battered. His face was battered beyond recognition. He had to absorb a horrific amount of punishment just to squeeze out a decision on the scorecards. Sadler's victories weren't close. They were definitive. And yes, Sadler's career was cut short at 30, but by the time he was 30, he had amassed 144 wins and 103 knockouts.
It's an unbelievable ratio.
That knockout ratio, over 70%, is ungodly for a 126-pound fighter. He was knocking guys unconscious with a single shovel uppercut inside the clinch. Sadler didn't need 26 years to prove his point. He proved it by dismantling the man everyone else considered untouchable.
So bringing this all together, my position remains that Willie Pep's 229 wins, his unparalleled defensive innovations, and the sheer unprecedented volume of his dominance secures his legacy as the greatest featherweight of all time. He took the sweet science to its absolute logical extreme.
Right.
His 1949 victory over Sadler proves that when the master lockpicker applies his craft perfectly, the vault opens, no matter how hard the guy with the sledgehammer is swinging.
And my position remains that Sandy Sadler's undeniable head-to-head victories, his terrifying ring control, and his 103 knockouts prove he was the superior force. You simply can't claim the throne when the man standing right next to you knocked you off at 3 times. The sledgehammer smashed the lock.
I think where we do find convergence is the understanding that evaluating greatness in sports always requires looking beyond simple win-loss columns. Pep and Sadler's 4-fight rivalry inextricably linked them in history. You really can't tell the story of Willie Pep's genius without the looming shadow of Sandy Sadler's power.
Absolutely. They defined each other. You can't fully appreciate Sadler's devastation without understanding the staggering quality of the technician he was destroying. Analyzing the lockpicker against the sledgehammer reveals the beautiful and sometimes brutal complexity of boxing.
Very true.
There's so much more to explore in this era of the sport, particularly how these 2 men pioneered tactics, from shoulder rolls to the long guard, that are still studied in gyms around the world today.
It leaves us exactly where we started. When you look at that vault door, what commands your ultimate respect? The delicate, flawless precision of the lockpicker, who knows every tumbler? Or the raw, unadulterated power of the sledgehammer that just knocks the door completely off its hinges? We'll leave that for you to decide.
Hi, this is the legendary Hall of Famer, Sonny Huff. Have you ever stepped into the gym wearing bargain boxing gear? You throw one jab and your glove waves goodbye before your hand does. Your headgear spins around so you're looking at the referee instead of your opponent. Your mouthpiece pops out every time you say, "I'm ready." Folks, don't let discount equipment turn you into the main event at the comedy club. That's why I trust Knockout Corner boxing equipment. Their gloves stay on your hands, their headgear stays on your head, and their punching bags don't surrender after 3 left hooks. Need hand wraps? They've got wraps tighter than your grandmother's holiday hugs. Need a jump rope? Their ropes spin so smoothly, you'll think they're trying out for a dance competition. And if you're looking for a boxing robe, they've got styles so sharp, you'll feel like a champion before the opening bell, even if your last fight was with a stubborn pickle jar. So don't gamble on equipment that belongs in a museum of bad decisions. Visit Knockout Corner Boxing Equipment and train like you mean business. You can find them on the web at huffboxing.com. When the legendary Hall of Famer Sonny Huff endorses a product, you know it's good.
Thank you so much, Malcolm and Ella, for that discussion. Really something that's going to continue. I'd like to confront some of the folks with Ring Magazine. They even wrote, as a comment in there about, who actually were the folks to decide who should be on this list? Because I'd like to talk to an ex-Kellerman who I met many, many years ago, and some other folks. I know they're on that list. I'd like to have a little debate with them. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that debate. But now we're going to switch to the variety portion of the program, and we're going to do a little music here. And I'm going to play this song, which will probably get me maybe kicked off from YouTube. I don't know. But, a lot of folks, my email name is Unifix, UNIFICS. And a lot of people, when they see that, they say, well, what is that? Well, the Unifix were a group, an R&B group, back in the late 60s, early 70s, out of Baltimore and D.C. And they had a number of hits that became national. I'm going to play their big hit, The Quarter Love. So let's hear that on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Will everyone please rise? 'Cause in this court, the judge of love presides. Will the jury take its place? Now, will the plaintiff kindly state his case?
I got a letter today and cried with every word she had to say. I was so hurt, shame and disgrace, 'cause that woman didn't have the nerve to tell me face to face that she was seeing somebody else. And all my witnesses testified just how I felt. She didn't tell me she was gonna let me go. I was the last one alive, so my first charge is that she deceived me into thinking that her love was mine, all mine. The second charge is that she misused me and abused my love. Just believe me, that's a crime. My third charge is that she was dishonest and stripped me of all my manly pride. She constantly disrespected me and somehow always seemed to catch a line.
As the jury reached its verdict,
And I tensed up so sad. Yeah.
We have, Your Honor.
Somebody tell me, what's it gonna be?
We find the defendant guilty as charged.
I got justice in this courtroom. I got justice in this courtroom. Since the day I met you, seems I can't forget you. You're always on my mind. I thank God up above me for sending you to love me, for making you mine. since day one, girl. You've been the only one, girl. I said you're all that I need. And bringing so much joy, girl, to a sad and lonely boy, girl. You've ended my miseries with ecstasy.
More than I had gained in my life. But you may have found this within our kiss. But a kiss cannot express this heart of mine, and words cannot explain a love so divine. With a bit of emotion here, there, and there. Oh, Carla, feel the touch of me. Oh, Carla, feel the touch of me. Oh, Carla, my
So
Another face, another smile, another picture in the line. Everybody's looking perfect, but you're the one that's caught my eye. No filters needed, no disguise. I can see it in your eyes. Why keep scrolling all night long when the real thing feels this strong? One little touch, one little spark, lighting up the dark. Don't let this moment disappear. I'm already here. Swipe my love, swipe it right. Let's turn this match into tonight. No more waiting, no more maybe. Come a little closer, baby. Swipe my love, take a chance. Let's put this heart into romance. Skip the games and all the hype. Find forever with one swipe. Every message makes me smile. Every second's worth the while. You're more than words upon a screen. You're everything I've dreamed. Let's trade emojis for a kiss. There's a world beyond all this. Put your phone down, take my hand. Love was never meant to be planned. Every heartbeat sends a sign. Maybe you were meant for mine. Don't let destiny pass by. Give us one more try. Swipe my love, swipe it right. Let's turn this match into tonight. No more waiting, no more maybe. Come a little closer, baby. Swipe my love, take a chance. Let's put this heart into romance. Skip the games and all the hype. Find forever with one swipe. Forget the lights, forget the views. Love ain't measured by the news. It's a feeling you can't fake. It's a chance you've got to take. I'm not looking for a trend. I'm looking for a best friend. When our two hearts synchronize, that's the real grand prize. Swipe, swipe. Swipe my love. Swipe it right, swipe it right. Touch, touch, touch my heart. Don't let this feeling stop. Dance, dance all night long. We've been waiting for too long. Swipe my love, swipe it right. We're gonna set this room alight. Move together side by side. Nothing left for us to hide. Swipe my love, don't delay. Love is only one touch away. When the music feels this right, we'll be dancing through the night. Don't keep scrolling by. Swipe my love, come and catch this vibe. Swipe my love, baby, make your move. Swipe my love, we've got nothing left to prove. Come on, right here. One more swipe, that's all it takes. Swipe my love.
And that was the new one by Durian Funk, their latest one. That was Swipe My Love. And before that, we did a little reggae there That was the Sensations. And that was Born to Love You. And that's the old Temptation song that they turned into a little reggae there. And that's from the early 70s. And before that, we did the soft tones out of Baltimore along with First Class. And that was Carla, My Love. And we started the set with the Unifics, Court of Love. Hope you enjoyed that music, as well as the fights and all the other information on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. We're getting ready to get out of here right now. And if you have any requests, if anyone, because we interview authors on here, we play music, as you heard. We have, if you want some fighters that you want us to put on here to fight and do a fantasy fight, just let me know. Wherever you listen to the program, drop a line, as so many other people have done. But again, this is Greg Rashid. Go on, love and go peace. Help someone along the way. Do what you can to make this big blue ball that we all live on a better place. So we'll see you next time on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Please become a member at patreon.com under the title Ringside Fantasy Fights and News. See you next time.